I welcome you to this episode with the new Mercedes GLE, here in the form of the 400 4MATIC Coupé. Of course, everything we tell you in this review will also count most of the time for the 450, because those vehicles are not that different. Everything on the exterior, interior and the driving experience will be today on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars with me, with Thomas. We're going to have a lot of fun with this special vehicle. This one is kind of a facelift version of the former M or ML class, but they have renamed the class with the coming facelift here. So we're going to show you all the difference and everything you need to know about this car. And now let's go for full HD, full screen and full length of Autogefühl. Let's start here with the front. And you know, nowadays there's now the GLE SUV with a classic shape and the GLE Coupé as it is here right now. And they're not only different from the side profile, which we'll soon take a look at, already from the front. Here the Coupé has more of a comp structure in the front grille and this one horizontal fin. So it looks a little bit more sporty, more modern, but it's just a slight difference definitely. We're going to talk about, in general, all about this SUV Coupé concept very soon. There it is, the side profile, and there has been a lot of discussion in general about this Coupé concept for an SUV. And it started all with the BMW X6, and some say, oh, this is just a mere copy of the X6. Well, part of it is actually true. Mercedes responded on the market with that vehicle here, but I think if you look at that Coupé style line now, I was first not a real friend of it, but now as I've seen this one, especially here also in this diamond silver color, I think it does look very elegant, and it's the first time I say this about a SUV Coupé. Of course, I want to hear your opinion about that one in the comments. Other thing we have here, we have 21-inch rims, quite huge, but they would look even larger if we had summer tires mounted. Those ones here are the winter tires. And the rims are also one difference about the SUV and Coupé. You maybe realize that the Coupé version of the GLE is way more expensive than the SUV version, about 15,000 euros for example in Germany. But it's not because this hatch is more expensive. It's more about you start with a bigger engine and you start also with a higher trim on the inside. That's both almost half the extra price you pay. So, and as most people don't buy the entry version of the SUV, maybe the price at the end of the day won't be that different. And you also got, for example, the bigger alloys. What I think they have managed really well, you know, this dropping line here at the height of the door handles, everything has really a sensual feeling to it, and Mercedes designers do really know what to do there. Then we got this Coupé style line with a very sharp ending, and I think especially through this broad area, and then the shoulders that evolve here and the taillights that catch the rear end already at the side, I think they have created really something very beautiful. And it wasn't too easy to do because, you know, SUV as Coupé can also easily look a little bit clumsy. Let's now talk about the rear of this 4.90 meters long car. You see all the Mercedes Coupés now have the same design scheme in the rear, those horizontal taillights. And I really like that design. For example, that's also a reason I like the C-Class Coupé way more than the C-Class sedan. Here it's kept the same way, very horizontal, wide, broad taillights. And you see the version here, GLE 400 and 4MATIC, that's the all-wheel drive. And I can tell you this is already enough power, but of course already comparable with the power also of the 450 AMG, so there won't be too much difference in driving, I can tell you so far. But of course we're going to talk more about the driving experience later. At the lower part we got those fake exhausts. Again, the real exhaust is hidden right in there. This is just this chrome design element then. Let's take a look at the engines. Massive, of course. Here, this is here the GLE 400, and the GLE Coupé is only available with the higher engines and combined with the all-wheel drive. Only the SUV got the entry diesels and the entry petrol engines then. This one here, 333 horsepower. The GLE 450 has about 30 horsepower more, and of course some more AMG elements, but the power is kind of the same, not so much difference. About 6 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers or 0 to 60 miles an hour. And above that there's also then the GLE 500, 435 horsepower, and on top of that the AMG 63 of this vehicle. But I mean, come on, such a huge SUV as an AMG version, it doesn't make too much sense to me. This should not be a racing car. Of course you want to drive fast also on the motorway when accelerating and stuff, but this is more about a very luxurious calm driving, and therefore this engine here I think is the most suitable one, and you don't want to have the consumption that high. This one here is already at 14 liters on 100 kilometers. Well, that's the reason why in Europe most people go for diesels. Our friends in the US, of course, rather pick the petrol engines. Inside to test the seats. Of course, with this full-size SUVs, the best thing is you got such a great upright seating position, easy to get in and out, and wow, it's just a relief sitting in here, especially if you're tall. And the seat design is still very good. What I also like, you've seen it also on the static shots already, and look how it shines in the sun. The aluminum part of the inside of the doors, very solidly built. About the build quality, it's on a very high level, yes, but for example the all-new Audi Q7 is better as for the interior build quality as for the refinement. This one here, I think BMW and Mercedes come very close, and the Volvo as well. However, this is just a facelift. It's not like with the all-new models that Audi or Volvo have presented. This is here, you know, lags a little bit behind as for the modern style, but as the Mercedes interior are usually quite timeless, it doesn't really matter. And the thing is, maybe it's a thing of, you know, of which cars I got to know first, but I feel very much at home here in this interior. Let's look at the seats in diesel. Unfortunately, I got the genuine leather equipment in this test vehicle, but the GLE Coupé, at least in Germany, comes standard with Artico with leatherette seats, and that's a very good alternative, and a lot of people really appreciate those. Also the SUV, not the Coupé, the GLE SUV comes with cloth seats as standard, so Mercedes does offer a lot of alternatives there. That's good as a brand. Then the steering wheel looks like a very sporty one, and is a sporty one actually, and so this SUV also feels easier and sportier to control, for example due to this steering wheel. You got a lot of controls around here. This is here for the wipers at the upper part. Then there's a small one for the steering wheel, heated steering wheel. Good that we have that one here, but you never really see when it's on. It's just a small red light at the side, and you can't really see it from a driver's perspective. You have to feel it then. And then this one is for the Distronic Plus, the adaptive cruise control. And on the right part, I think it's tribute to our American friends, it's the shifting lever for the automatic gearbox. The basic seats control are right here, you know, for putting the seat in the front and back, and also the back part of the seat. and you can also electronically adjust the head restraint. The detailed controls I show you in the infotainment system. There it is with the head restraint. It's quite funny, isn't it? Look at this great cockpit overview. Isn't it a real sensual design by Mercedes? What do you think? It's a facelift here with the GLE, so redesigned have been those central vents. They are a new design. The infotainment system already received an update. I will show you soon more details about the infotainment system. This is just first the cockpit overview, and I think everything is kept quite simple. You see the huge fields here of those aluminum covers. Really love that. You could also get those in wood, for example. So we got just not so many lines, and there's really a distinctive scheme to the interior. They really know, okay, we keep with one scheme and not introduce too many different forms of styling, and I really like that. What about you? Now to the infotainment system details. You see, this is still kind of old school that you have separate buttons, but some do prefer that when I just want to short type any telephone number in. Also the hotkeys for the different menus for GPS, for example, for media and stuff. The GPS, by the way, is still, well, pretty simple, but I think the visualization is good, and also how it leads, you know. We're in Germany here today in our home stage. Reaction times, you see, could be a little bit faster now, but overall I still like the GPS we have in here. But the most interesting part is really radio, media, telephone with vehicle. There we have different special menus, for example, vehicle settings. And here, for example, this is the puddle light you can activate there. I will soon show you that one when it's darker. Really impressive how the Mercedes logo is displayed on the ground there. Then, what else is interesting? The ambient lighting brightness, you can adjust also the ambient lighting color, blue, yellow and white. We'll also show you that later when it's dark. Ionization of the air, also nice extra. Then let's go back here. The dynamic select, that is interesting as well, because here you can show vehicle data. I'll turn on the ignition. There it is. For example, degrees of your tires, the angle. That's off-road, for example. That's really good for off-road riding. And well, maybe we can go into the whole different driving modes. When, for example, we go to Comfort Plus, or from Comfort to Sport Plus. So there it is. And Sport Plus, this one, the optional air suspension, the car sits lower then. And you see it also right here. And Sport is already just a little bit lower and more responsiveness from the throttle input. At Comfort, then the air suspension goes higher. In the off-road mode with the SUV, you can maximum get about 26.5 centimeters of ground clearance. The Coupé has a little bit less ground clearance. So, with the ML-Class and the off-road package, of course. Engine data. There we can let that run when we drive the car. And for example, you see it right here when I press the throttle. It goes up in the Newton meters. So I really like that we have those stuff here. Of course, it's just a little bit of joyful, but I mean, come on, why not? It doesn't cost anything that much then. 360-degree camera, that one here is just awesome. And you see, it's displayed which doors I got opened. When I close the different doors then, you can see that this one is also changing. And the good thing is, I got a soft close for the front door, so I don't need to hammer it. It's getting so, and there it is, the camera then. So I've also closed the hatch now. Then we have the full view. This 360-degree view from above really helps you when going in and out of a basement garage. And you can always switch then to the normal rear view camera, which also gives you a great overview. And the resolution is really superb, we see here. The infotainment screen is controlled by this here. You turn it and then press to pick something or go back right here to the menu. And right next to it, there's this driving mode selector I've been talking about, snow mode to decrease throttle input, and then over here the normal comfort mode. Sport mode, the vehicle already goes lower when you have the ML-Class, the optional air suspension. Sport Plus even lower, stiffer suspension than Sport here, right? And you can also pick everything individually. And there are also some off-road stuff available. Here you put the ML-Class suspension higher for really more ground clearance, or also the hill descent control. The AC unit, it's put right here below. Maybe not the best position. It's put quite low, but you think you have to be able to control that one blindly, then it helps you. We got some storage space here at the inside of the doors, but you see it is rather limited. But some bottles might also fit half lying in there. Then there are those central beverage holders, also adaptive, very nice. And a special feature, you can heat or cool, or let's say now cool blue, heat red, your beverage. And see, it's also illuminated then which one is active, and then your coffee stays hot, or maybe your water or whatever stays cold. Such a great feature, and especially with the, I really like the lights more than the fact that it's actually heating or cooling. Wow, you even hear that it's cooling now. The glove box, sliding down very smoothly, can be closed with a key, I like that, and just normal space in there. And finally the middle armrest, everything from great quality again, and you can put some cables in there. There's also the 2 USB slots right in there, and there you can charge your smartphone, for example. And the instrument panel, I think it's a great analog style, left and right, and digital in the center. And you can, for example, switch to the consumption right in there. Here from reset 14 liters, that's average consumption we have for that 400 4MATIC, for example. And by the way, Autogefühl sustainability fact, even if you have the full leather equipment, everything else from the covers, for example the dashboard, or also the inside of the doors, is always from faux leather, from leatherette, and that shows you can't really see the difference because this is from a great material quality, and you will never see a difference to those genuine leather seats here when it's a good leatherette, which is also available with the so-called Artico we have here in the standard version. And there it is, the ambient lighting. I'm taking the colors, solar, polar and neutral, and well, this one also has something quite cool, but I prefer the blue one. Which one do you prefer? And we want to talk about the sound system, and you can select the sound profile. This is the optional Bang & Olufsen sound system, where we can, for example, also change the equalizer here, or the balance and the fader. And well, sound profile is most interesting because you can here switch between reference and surround, and that really changes the sound. And I can tell you, the sound is just awesome. So I'll give you a stereo recording about that one. And surround reference is more clear, not that 3D kind of style. And maybe you hear the difference now. That one has more echo, more 3D sound. Wonderful sound. And when you open or close the car, you see this great puddle light. Look at that one. Old school Mercedes logo. Great. So what about the rear compartment? Will the Coupé fail here? That is a big question. First of all, knee space. There's really plenty of that kind of knee space in front of me. And so for tall people in back, no problem. Well, the GLE Coupé has the falling roofline, but still got space above my head. And I think that's a very good thing. I thought, well, okay, where can we let it fall down? Of course, you have more space if you pick the SUV version. But here, I think it almost fits with, well, 2 meters could be closer. a little bit above 190 in height, that will be no problem at all. And even on the middle seat here, well, you sit a little bit higher, definitely. It's not the most comfortable setup. Well, I cannot really recommend tall adult here, as also the seat in the middle is way harder than the soft seat at the side parts. But for 4 adults, it's really a perfect travel car. When the engine is turned on, you even got a climate control here in the rear. However, this one here feels very cheap when controlling it. Seat heating even possible in the rear. Optionally, of course. And some more space to store stuff. Ah, there it goes. Here, and another 12-volt power supply down there. About flipping the seats, there are 2 possibilities. First of all, you can use this lever here down there. Then the seats flip down, but not really that much. Therefore, it's really hard. Therefore, there's another possibility, and you can use this strap here, put a seating area in the top, then you let the seats flip down. However, you have to remove the head restraint for that one first, and that goes like this. You can see it right here. And then it's possible to have a rather even loading area. On the outside, there's no button to open the hatch. You have to do it with this standard Mercedes key. Could be updated meanwhile, couldn't it? A little bit. Then you hold the button, but it only opens when the ignition is fully turned off. Well, I usually prefer having a button here, but you have to think about, if there's no button that anyone else, who shouldn't open it, can open it. Then we hold it here, and it opens. And what do we see then here? Well, the trunk is relatively large, and while you do lose a lot of space in height, then you should go for the SUV if you want to transport stuff that is, even here in the height, or if you want to put some stuff over each other. But overall, for an SUV kind of coupe style car, that is still really a lot of space we have here. I'm not sure about this fixed cover here. This one is just fixed, but if you pull it back, then you can completely remove it and see what's left here. And below the cover there's some more space, as there's no replacement tire right in here. Usually you can order that one extra. However, there's one button you can push from the inside, and this one, then you can also open the hatch. And you can also put out the towing equipment right here electronically. Or alternatively, here there's the second button. And then it goes like this, just electronically. Really a nice feature, definitely, and so comfortable. And well, at some vehicles you have to put them in manually. Here, if you activate the electric button again, then it also gets flipped in again. Takes just 1 second, there it is. Start that vehicle. There it goes. The electric parking brake is released automatically. Oh, nice supermoto machine. Nice. We're riding in the comfort mode, and that's the one I would definitely recommend you. Automatic gearbox here as well. Oh, and that supermoto machine wants to overtake us. She shall do. Comfort mode here. We see the car is tilting, for example, here in the roundabout, just a little bit. Still, it's quite okay. It's not that it's totally wobbling around. That's okay. Also, when I go some right left here, well, yeah, you feel the air suspension is going, but that's still okay. If you want it stiff, however, just go into the sport mode. Then the car is lowering a little bit. You feel it when you're standing still, for example, and you really realize that. Or you can go into the Sport Plus mode, and it goes even lower. Now, for example, the gears are turned up higher. And when I'm going into the roundabout, I get more support from suspension. I can even go into Sport Plus mode, vehicle goes even lower, and now I feel it's really getting stiff, the whole car. Got good support when steering sport here now, but when I'm going over some bumps here now in the Sport Plus mode, it's going like a plop. It's not really comfortable then anymore. So usually for the city you keep in the comfort mode when you're going over some speed bumps then. It's very comfortable, and this air suspension we have here optionally, I can really recommend you to go for it. There is an adaptive suspension from the standard equipment already that is very good, but here that one makes you really a very, very smooth ride, and that is just awesome. So I will just remain in the comfort mode because, as I said, it's not tilting too much. The steering wheel feels quite natural. It could be a little bit more progressive. That means I would prefer if I needed a little bit less of a steering angle. No, I don't want some traffic information. Do you like it when this traffic information pops out automatically? I really don't like it. But of course you can also turn that off, but it's deep down in the menu somewhere. So let's see how the acceleration goes inside the city in the normal comfort mode. And we can also see how the difference is to the sport mode. Okay, let's hammer throttle from 0 to 50 here now. That's it. Oh, it was already 60 now. Wow. So as I said, 6 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour. You got plenty of power, definitely. And you also heard a quite nice engine sound. The 450 AMG version here is even more tuned for a sporty sound if you prefer that one. But this one already quite refined in the sound. But there's of course the higher consumption than for the petrol engine as usual. It's a quite heavy car, of course. The main thing, however, is of course the seating position is just great. It's so comfortable. And on top of that, if you even want more comfort, you can also go into the seat settings here. And while driving, well, you can, for example, change the length of the seat surface. That is also possible. Or, and that's really the great thing, optional available, the massage. And there are different kind of massage. Let's take it, go for the classic massage. And really goes up all the way until your shoulders, and that's a really relaxing thing. And so also your lumbar area stays activated then for long Autobahn rides. That's really a very, very nice thing. And I can just, well, it's one of those vehicles I can imagine going the longest road trip with. And especially, I've driven all of the other competitors, BMW X6, Volvo XC90, although it's not available as a coupe, the Audi Q7, which is kind of has more of a station wagon style. And every one of those competitors has some good and bad things. Infiniti QX70 is also. This one here is definitely one of the best in riding because you get a very comfortable feeling but still a very controlled feeling at the same time. The Volvo XC90, by the way, well, I love that one from design, but the riding agility is better here with the Mercedes, definitely. The Audi is also good, but I think it feels a little bit heavier in general. And the BMW X6 also was great when riding. So from riding, I think I prefer the BMW and the Mercedes, I think. Well, this interior, as I've told you already, is rather outdated if compared to those all-new competitors. However, I think that's not necessarily a bad thing because here you know what you get, you know what to expect. And it's not packed always those stuff, you know, with touchscreen here, functions there and stuff. It's kept relatively basic also in comparison to the competitors. That one is comparable with the BMW X6 or the X5, depending on you go for the coupe or the SUV version. The automatic gearbox. You do feel the shifting transitions. Depends on how much you hammer the throttle really. But overall, as we expect from Mercedes, and we also know that it's really good. And I still enjoy the classic massage, by the way. One of the best things is the sound insulation, and I almost hear nothing from the outside. It is so silent and so relaxing here, definitely. Steering wheel is quite sporty, as I said, but if the steering angles could be a little bit shorter, that would be even better. You don't really feel when driving that the car isn't that huge. The only thing you do feel is that you sit really, really high, and therefore you have this command view here. You have a very good view to the front, for example. Well, the Coupé style limits the view to the rear then, also through the back mirror. There's just a tiny hole I can look through then. That one is limiting. The side view, however, is still quite okay. It's better, of course, with the SUV, but there's also one reason you got those rear view camera or the 360 view camera available for you, that you have a better overview to the rear part then. That's, of course, a very important aspect. Has the riding changed to the pre-facelift model? Well, that's not really a crucial point. The facelift is more about the new name and that you have this Coupé version now available and some of those interior updates I've shown you earlier. From riding, well, not really such a difference. Now we're going on the motorway. We'll show you some more of the acceleration, also in that Sport Plus mode. And of course more about the riding comfort and also from the sound insulation when we go at higher speeds, because that's also important, and also how the car behaves in general in higher speeds. The Distronic Plus, I've shown you the lever in front, is one of the best systems there's on the market. You put it higher for 10 kilometers, steps higher, and that one is really superb. And I also got this lane steering assist here in there. Let's see how that turns out. Oh, wait a minute. First get on the motorway. So there it is. It's at 100 kilometers is the speed limit right here. Now activate the Distronic Plus again, and just keeps the distance to the vehicle in front of me. And this system is really flawless. It never failed so far to me, and also reduces the speed until complete standstill if it's needed to. And that adds, of course, a lot of this safety feature. You see, the car is a little bit steering itself. Wow. A little bit feeling like in Tesla now. So I'm doing nothing. Now it says, keep your hands on the steering wheel, damn it. And when you just touch the steering wheel, it's okay again. But this system is not derived yet for that it's fully autonomously. So this lane keeping assistant, the active one, does a very good job. And they could already from technology do it completely for autonomous driving. And I mean, combination with the ACC, with the adaptive cruise control ACC, and this steering assistant, it's almost an autonomously driving car already. You heard that one? Then the system says, okay, I'll shut down now. But basically, it's already there, Just, the governmental regulations, it's still not really fixed, who takes responsibility. Volvo said now as the first manufacturer, we take responsibility if there are any accidents with autonomously driving cars. Other manufacturers didn't say it so far. Let's see it again. Okay, it says here, beep. Also displays me in the front screen that I have a touch steering wheel. Is it activated? Yeah, it's deactivated now, because I see that is a white steering wheel symbol in the middle part. And as soon as I touch the steering wheel again, there's a green steering wheel symbol. This system here is optional for the GLE. However, one very good thing, the autonomous braking assistant, if you fail to see something or driving inside the city, that one is already included. And I think I'm really demanding this from every manufacturer, include the autonomous braking assistant in every car, also in the lower segments from the standard equipment, because that can really save lives. It's like, meanwhile, like airbags have become standard, so also the autonomous braking assistant should become standard. Not only, because people are not paying attention, people playing with their smartphone all the times in the car. When I see someone here at the motorway looking at the smartphone in the hand, I always go mad, because, come on. I mean, okay, kill yourself, that's perfectly fine, your responsibility, but I mean, if you kill yourself in a car, most often it also involves killing someone else at the same time. Therefore, damn it, take your hands off the smartphone. What the hell? And therefore, also those electronic systems are really helpful, that they can then prevent the thing the human just forgets. Very important aspect there as well. And another important aspect about that is, of course, some accidents, that happens in the was killed in a car accident, lost control over his or her car. But what story was behind it? Maybe it wasn't the accident first. Maybe it was, for example, a heart attack in a car. And if you then maybe survived the heart attack itself for a medical condition, but the autonomous braking assistant helps you not to crash, that is another very crucial factor. So you can also reduce speed with the Distronic Plus, just put the lever down, and we're going to 80 kilometers an hour. And overall, great sound insulation, air suspension, adaptive cruise control, seat massage, which is still on and running, and this steering assistant. It's really like one of the most comfortable car rides ever. That's definitely one of the main aspects here. Since here, I'm doing just nothing. I can relax, talk to you. But well, yeah, the system says, take your hands on the steering wheel again. But it's quite okay actually, because you can leave your hands just on the steering wheel just in case. And then everything is done automatically. Also, if I'm, for example, now, I am not turning the steering wheel. I just leave my hands on the steering wheel. That's perfectly fine. Maybe let's see if also one hand is enough. I'll soon tell you about that one. And well, that can of course also help you really when, for example, you're getting tired or realize it. And there might also be some seconds, everyone knows that who's driving a car, where you're maybe not paying so much attention as you should. And then those electronic systems can also help you really much. So yes, I am also a car driver that likes to drive a car, but I'm not against future innovations. So I'm not saying that everything comes from the devil himself. I also heard that kind of opinions lately, even from people inside the automotive industry, that autonomously driving, when that is totally introduced, I will post it on the street, whatever. Come on. There are certain times where it's really fun to drive a car, but there are also times, for example, in traffic jams where it's not so much fun. Especially there, those electronic helpers can really help us. We're driving, hardly realize it, 100 kilometers an hour now. But sound insulation is still superb, although it is very windy here today. And they've done a really good job in isolating this one. The engine is also running very silent. And well, do you feel the all-wheel drive? Yeah, well, for such a heavy car, it's quite nice to have it. You don't necessarily need to have it, but the big engines just have them included. And of course, when you're going kind of off-road riding, then you usually should have it as well. Although I'm not sure if someone who's buying the GLE Coupé will go for off-road riding that often. Maybe not. But, as they're anyway combined with so many horsepower, it's always good to get all the power on the ground via four wheels. So let's maybe check. What about the steering? By the way, it worked. When you just leave one hand on the steering wheel, that's also okay. The lane keeping, the active lane keeping assistant is quite fine with that, obviously. Hello, little green steering wheel, Mr. Lane Keeping Assistant. You're doing a quite good job. Well done. Yeah, so there's just one step more than to the Tesla ride we've shown you. It was very impressive there as well. And I would say, we take on the steering wheel again. And when I'm driving now faster and doing some right left switching here, the car is also not tilting too much. And that's about this adaptive suspension. When you're going fast, it also gets a little bit stiffer, that you have more control over your ride. And that helps you, for example, also with a lane change. We can drop back a little bit in speed. Distronic Plus off and go, for example, like from 90 to 110. Let's go now. There it is. See, RPMs go 5,000-6,000. But in comfort mode, first needs to pick up the RPMs. If I go to the Sport Plus mode now, gear is shifted down. You hear also the RPMs go higher and they have a greater response from the throttle. If I now go like 90 to 110, let's go now. Direct response, there it is. Maybe you heard that on the sound. But of course, Sport Plus mode here now. Also the lane keeping assistant is turned off then. And I have really good response. Almost feels like in a sport car now when I'm going right and left. But of course, you lack a little bit of comfort and it goes like pop, 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 and over all the small bumps. But it's of course good if you can just adjust the ride, the mood you are in. If you want to go on a sportier ride at the moment or more on a comfortable one, then you always have the choice. When I'm driving such a car, I don't feel really like racing, so I just go back to the comfort mode and enjoy this really great, smooth ride. And I hope you enjoyed that one with me as well. And now to the conclusion on the new Mercedes GLE Coupé. I was very skeptical always when I heard of some renaming process, especially from renaming SLK to SLC. I really doubt that was a clever idea. Here, well, maybe it's quite okay to me because GLE sounds quite cool and maybe even better than M or ML class. They now have the separation into SUV and Coupé. If you want a more practical usage, just still go for the SUV, and I would probably also still go for the normal SUV version. But I must admit, it's I think the first time an SUV Coupé has been designed really in an elegant way, and Mercedes really knows how to do this. The interior, well, it has just been a facelift, to be honest, and we've seen not so many changes, but the interior is still kind of up to date, and we see a very good quality. And as I've already mentioned, the standard seats, they can be bought with Artigo with this leather red, and that's also a very good thing. Mercedes is really offering a good alternative to real animal skin, and I do love that. We have still a lot of space in the interior, although we have this Coupé style ending. Even for the rear passengers, a lot of space there is left. The best part of this car is riding it. There I think, well, is it class leading? Maybe it is class leading in riding. Maybe together with the Audi. Of course, the BMW is also very good for the agility. All of the three German premium manufacturers are kind of top when it comes to the agility and comfort compromise. Here, especially with the optional air suspension we had, you really have such a great ride. You're like flying on the road, but at the same time, it's not too much tilting. And of course, you can change the driving modes to be always flexible to drive sportier or more comfortable. At the end of the day, it always comes down to the price, and well, we started about 60,000-70,000 euros, the entry version for the GLE Coupé, as it stands here right now, with all of the extras we had inside, almost 100,000 euros. That's, I think, well, the saddest point for today's review. Thank you very much for watching Autogefühl again. I hope you liked that episode. Give me the comments, the feedback on this car, if you like it or not. Comment on the exterior, interior, and what you've seen from the driving experience. And I'm sure we will see us at the next Autogefühl episode. Thanks for watching.